So it looks like there's a rumor going around the internet that the iPad mini line may be discontinued from Apple. But to be honest, I'm not really too surprised about this because we have not had a new iPad mini refresh since the iPad mini 4, and the iPad mini 4 is going on 2 to 3 years old now. And honestly, I don't think Apple is going to make another iPad mini 4. They were just testing the waters, but I don't think they really need an iPad mini line, just also due to the fact that it was never the latest and greatest from Apple when it comes to technology. The iPad mini line was always just a second thought from Apple. The 9.7-inch line was basically their base model, and if you look at the iPad mini line, it was never up to date. Also, the iPad mini, I think, is just way too small. If you think about it, phones are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and really, who really needs an iPad mini when it's not much bigger than your average smartphone? And the average smartphone is above 5 inches now, and once it becomes 5.5 inches, 5.6 inches, 5.7 inches, you pretty much have a phablet. I remember back in the day they used to call them phablets, but with more people just loving bigger smartphones in general, why is there a need for an iPad mini line? There's really no reason for an iPad mini line. Also, if you think about it as well, could Apple ever discontinue their smaller iPhone line? Yes, they could discontinue their smaller iPhone line. Now, I don't have numbers and I don't know for a factor, but I can tell you I think more people do tend to buy the bigger iPhones. The iPhone 7 Plus is the iPhone 6 Plus, the iPhone 6s Plus. They just tend to buy the bigger phones. So I wouldn't be surprised in the future if Apple said, well, I'm sorry to tell you, the smaller iPhones must be chopped and we're only going to sell the bigger iPhones, because let's face it, as a whole, people do tend to like the bigger products from companies, whether it be Apple, whether it be Samsung, whether it be LG and things like that. People just love big devices. And with the iPad mini line, I don't think many people just really bought the iPad mini line. It was just an afterthought. Apple was just testing the waters in different sizes and stuff like that. Also, just outside of smartphones and tablets, can companies stop making multiple lines of a product? For instance, why are there multiple versions of, like, say, like a console, like an Xbox One or like a PS4 and things like that? Why do we need different SKUs of products? There's no reason to have different SKUs of a product. Yes, it's good for the consumer, but for the manufacturer, it could be bad. And I can see there's really no point of having the iPad mini. Sorry to all you iPad minis fans. I am an iPad mini 4 user or an iPad mini user, and I can say honestly, the iPad mini is kind of a small tablet. 9.7 or anything really big, I feel like is a real tablet. Sure, iPad mini can be considered a tablet, but honestly, if you look at it, it is quite small, and most people probably get like the 9.7 inches. 12.9 or anything bigger than 10 inches is kind of big for a tablet. Sweet spot somewhere around there, so I'm not too surprised we're hearing confirmation about the iPad mini line being discontinued. Honestly, if Apple really cared about the iPad mini line, you would think by now they would have made a new iPad mini, but they obviously don't care. And if we don't get one in the next year to a year and a half, that pretty much confirms that the iPad mini line is going to be discontinued, and I don't see any reason Apple is going to keep the iPad mini line around. They just wanted to try a line for a while, but unfortunately it either didn't sell well, or maybe Apple just doesn't care about it, because if you look at it, they do have a 9.71 and they have a 12.91 and they have another 9.71, so they already have basically 3 different lines of the iPad right now, and they really don't need a 4th one. Technically they don't need 3 right now, but they're doing it. But anyway, guys, that's the news. Anyways, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.